Hello, sports fan. This is Stephen here with Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering the mistake made on draft day that's costing the Dolphins their jobs. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can know all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In 2020, with the first round pick, the fifth overall in the first round, the Miami Dolphins controversially selected Tua out of Alabama. There was a lot of conversation of who they wanted to take and who was ready for ultimately to be drafted. And it was between him and Justin Herbert. If you remember at that point in time, there wasn't the same coaching staff. Mike McDonald wasn't there. And you got to think, Brian Flores was the head coach. Brian Flores was on record screaming from the highest of the heavens, screaming to everything that he wanted Justin Herbert as a quarterback. Justin Herbert was the product out of Oregon, essentially. The big, strong quarterback that could run a little bit, that can throw, had a cannon for the arm, had one of the strongest arms in the draft. And then they went with Tua out of the University of Alabama, who had a couple of injuries, injury history a little lengthy, but he was a national champion. He came in for Jalen Hurts in the national title game against Georgia and did his thing. But when you think about 2020 and you fast forward it to now, Tua has since had concussions. Tua has since had injuries. He's lost a lot of time as far as missing games. He's taken a lot of big hits, and he hasn't quite got the Dolphins where they need to be. Now, yes, they've had some regular seasons where they've had offensive outputs, where they've had record-breaking games, and at one point in time, Tyreek Hill was rated as the best receiver in the league because of what they were doing offensively, and it was almost like a NASCAR offense where Jalen Waddle was going crazy and Tyreek Hill was going crazy, and I believe you had Mozart at the running back position, and they were just doing their own thing. But at this point in time, the Miami Dolphins are on their way out. The coaching staff on its way out. This roster on its way out. When you think of all the money that was spent on Nick Chubb, all the assets that were used on Jalen Ramsey to get him there, when you think of all the assets that were moved to get Tyreek Hill there, it was a number of things that they did in order to get this team that's one of the highest paid teams in the NFL where they are right now. This team has yet to produce anything as far as a playoff win. They've yet to produce anything as far as a championship roster that you would think that, okay, is going to challenge something at least for an AFC title. But nothing. Nothing. So Miami has to be real with themselves. They have to hit the reset button, and they have to also realize they're stuck with Tua for at least 1 or 2 more years. Yes, the contract that he signed a year ago is going to handicap him for the next couple of years to the Miami Dolphins, because a salary cap hit of cutting him or either trading him is going to balloon that cap number with those trade escalators and things like that. So the Miami Dolphins had to realize the team that they tried to build is a finesse team, a team that's probably not going to win the playoff game, a team that's probably not going to win the division, a team that's probably not going to get to the Super Bowl, and a team that's not going to produce a Hall of Fame season from any one of those guys on its roster. With Tyreek Hill out now with the dislocated kneecap and the rest of the season going, I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to finish the rest of this season as the coach of the Dolphins. History tells us that, the owner gets rid of coaches before their time is up. With that being said, the Miami Dolphins and their fan base need to have patience and understand that you guys missed in the draft, and it's going to cost you a couple of years. The defensive moves that you've gotten didn't bring you any better moves. Getting Minkah Fitzpatrick back isn't doing any better. And you got to think about this. This team doesn't have the draft capital. It doesn't have anything. So at this point, you need to start looking into the mirror and saying, what pieces can we trade away to get draft capital back? That's going to be the golden question. What do you get rid of? What do you keep? Do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? What do you think Miami's best solution to get back on track is as a team? Do you think trading away their valuable pieces and starting the rebuild now in season? Do you feel like firing the coaching staff is going to fire somebody up? Get in the comment section below. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus, and we will see you on the very next episode.